Hey everyone, welcome to RotoWire Fantasy Football Live. We did our start sit stream on Saturday, but decided why not do one Sunday. We'll see people probably watching the game, maybe some not. See how many show up. Talk through these things. Apparently, Deshaun Watson is not going to start today. Dorian Thompson Robinson is going to start. It's really tough to know how he's going to come out here. I think game plan wise, they were smart by not announcing him earlier if they knew he was going to play. But you have to think it's a downgrade for Amari Cooper downfield for sure. But here's the thing. They're playing the Ravens. The Ravens are down two outside linebackers, and so their pressure scheme isn't going to be quite the same. No Marlon Humphrey, so their coverage isn't the same. But I think you have to downgrade Cooper a bit here. Elijah Moore, he gets so much short stuff. I imagine his role doesn't get diminished too much. We don't know about David Njoku's role. He had burns to his face and his arm. If they can get the helmet over his head comfortably and safely, they're going to play him, it sounds like, but we won't know that till game time. All right. Unite Santini, Morning, D Hopper, Brees. You know what? Treylon Burks is out. I assume Hopkins' ankle is a week better. He seems to have practiced more than he did last week. And Brees Hall just has no room to run because Zach Wilson doesn't get the defense to respect the pass. So I got to go pretty easily with Hopkins. That's like 70-30. And then you have another one, Ford, Moss, Pickens, Ayuk, Godwin, Sutton, half PPR. Godwin has an advantage this week in that the second corner, Paulson Adebo, is out. The top corner, Marshawn Lattimore, has been excellent against Mike Williams. I don't know if Baker Mayfield is going to make an adjustment and go to the easier matchup, but I do think Godwin has had a good floor for you, but I like him. And, Moss is down two linemen, but they're playing the Rams, and they have the mobile quarterback back. I think Moss and Godwin are your two best picks, but I think that Ayuk, he's probably not 100%. So I would strongly consider playing Ayuk over Moss. We don't know how much they're going to throw. We don't know how healthy he is, but I don't know if this is a ceiling game for Moss. So, it is a tough one, honestly, because Sutton, if they throw the ball, the Bears can't cover. The one I'd leave out of this one is Pickens, because Houston has been dynamite against receivers. I don't know how. They're missing players in the secondary. They still continue to be great. So let's re-rank them, though. I don't know that Baker Mayfield will make the adjustment to Godwin. So let's go Ayuk 1. Let's go Moss 2, go Godwin 3, and Sutton 4. That's how we'll rank them. It's a tough call. If you have a gut feel on any of those, go with it because they are all super close. Ford, I'm leaving out. He got the touchdowns last week, but he wasn't effective. His matchup on the run isn't great here. Don, need two of the following half PPR: Sanders, White, Connor, Warren. So first of all, Sanders is in. Apparently, he's healthy enough to play, and we got to go with it right now. I think they're playing. With them playing Minnesota, I should say. Minnesota, they blitz a lot. They drop coverage. So I think Sanders can get enough work here. The other one is Connor is a floor play because he has a bad matchup, but he gets it done every week, whether they throw to him, whether he runs. The blocking's been way better than I expected. If the 49ers get out big, I assume Connor stays in the game. And so I think Connor is your safest one with Sanders. Warren, again, he's been good, but he gets a lot of his obvious passing downs. And when they're in run base, it starts out with Najee. And Najee faces loaded boxes, but still has like a 99th percentile broken tackle rate and yards after contact, the 95th percentile. So he's been very good. Just for fantasy, he hasn't. But I think Pittsburgh can play with a lead in this game, and they can stay out of obvious passing situations. So I don't know that Warren is going to have the same appeal as usual. So we're going to go Rachaad White, bad matchup on the road, and he's not a good running back. So I'm going to go with Sanders and Connor there. Rodney, Jacobs, Swift, Mostert, Sanders. Right now, we can't sit Mostert. Mostert is dynamite, scored every week, making explosive plays, making the most of his opportunities. He doesn't need a ton of carries. Buffalo isn't going to sell out to stop the run, that's for sure. And Swift right now, can't really sit him right now. Even if he gets 15 carries, he could easily go over 100 yards in Washington pass rush, but they're not great against the run. Jacobs hasn't gotten it done yet. He's getting some catches. The matchup is super easy. If you have a gut feel on Jacobs, you could use him. But I think right now with the way Swift and Mostert are playing, it's just very hard to sit them. And Sanders doesn't really compete with them either. Delroy, Stevenson, or Achane. We're going to go with Achane here. Stevenson, the blocking's not been good from the Patriots. The run blocking's been terrible. That's a problem. Achane's supposed to get more work, and Buffalo, again, they're not going to look to load to stop the pass. So Achane should get enough work, and Stevenson will get some targets, But again, I just think that Dallas is going to, have enough against the run with the bad blocking to hold him in check. And I think Elliott's going to get a lot of work here. Delroy, Javonte, or Warren? I'm going to go Javonte here. It's an easy matchup against the Bears. If he doesn't get it done here, when does he get it done? He is getting double-digit carries every week, about 12-ish. So I think in this matchup, there's nothing to be scared of. So I think we go with him. And then Ray, full PPR, Sanders, Pierce, Kelly, Roshan. So Kelly soiled the bed last week, but his matchup couldn't be much better than it is against the Raiders this week. So I think we go back to him, and we go with Sanders. Sanders, there's nothing scary about his matchup against Minnesota. And I think Pierce right now, until he gets some linemen back, he's a very good running back, but with 4 linemen and 2 backups missing, there's just too much out. And Roshan, it's going to be like they have to trail a lot because he's like the receiving hurry-up back. And I don't know. I don't know if you think Denver's going to blow out the Bears, then go ahead. But I think it's going to be a close game, so I don't think he's going to be as big of a factor. I'm going to go with Sanders and Kelly there. And let's see here. Disco Dave. What do you got here? Standard 1 point for 25 yards, 2 running backs, receivers. You need 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're sitting 2 of these guys. All right. Waddle's a definite play. Moss is getting a ton of volume. He's a definite play. Achane right now, he's going to get more volume. You can't really sit him. And Lockett. Those are 4 you're going to need. I do like Dell this week, but other than against your other plays, not so much. And then Ford, he did get the touchdowns, but didn't look very good otherwise last week. And his matchup is not positive this week. Do I sit Cooper for Sutton, Godwin, or Pickens? So I don't think for any of those options. I think Cooper gets downgraded. I think Cooper still gets you 60 yards in this game. They're going to throw. And again, Baltimore's now 2 outside linebackers. It hurts their pressure packages. Marlon Humphrey's out. So Cooper should be able to get open. And watch a Tyler Algier get a 9-yard run here. All right. So like I said, Godwin, I don't know. Baker should throw him the ball, but he hasn't done it enough yet. Sutton, if Denver can run the ball, they will. And then Pickens, again, Houston, just for, I don't know how goodness name they get it done, but since last year, they just slow down opposing passing attacks, even with their corners out, which Stingley's out, Tavier Thomas, last week, they just do it. So right now, I'm just going to go with, keep Cooper in there, I would say. That'd be my feel. Melly Matrix, need 1, half PPR, Cooper, Connor, or Achane. Yeah, it's a good one there. So again, with the little downgrade that we have to give, Bijan's breaking a long run here. So look at Atlanta down 17-0 at the half, and they come out with 2 runs to start, and they get about 50 yards on those. That's Atlanta. All right, not coming out firing. So all right, back to Cooper, Connor, or Achane. I like Connor's floor. A really bad matchup though, so I think Cooper has a similar floor to Connor, and I think he may have a little more upside because he could do some damage after the catch. Achane's close. We don't know how much work he's going to get. And with the half PPR, we don't know how many those are going to be catches. And for the half PPR, those catches add up for Cooper. If you have a gut feel on Achane, he's more boom bust, I think, here. I think Cooper's your stablest play. So if you want to go with the stable play, it's Cooper. If you want to swing some boom bust, then you go that way. Robert, Dak, or Mac. New England's still down 3 corners. They ruled another one of them out. They had a couple of them on IR. I think that tells me enough that Dak should get it done here. Christian Gonzalez, even if they do try to put him on CD Lamb, that matchup doesn't work. Gonzalez, I think, would be better against the bigger receivers, and Lamb is just too slippery to deal with. So I think Dallas is going to frustrate Mac Jones a lot, even with Trevon Diggs out. I think Dallas has way more than enough, and I think they're going to make it miserable for Jones. So I like Dak Prescott there. Chad, down low, down bad flex 0 or 15 play with Hyatt, or just take the 4. I got to say, Murray, Hyatt gets, top of my head, he gets less than 30% of the snaps. He's not on the field. And that's a problem. And Seattle has their corners back. Woolen's supposed to play. Witherspoon's there. And for me, that makes it a bad matchup for Hyatt. Now, you're right. He gets 1 pass, but he isn't always getting that target. So I would just take Murray has a good chance to score. So he always does. They get in the red zone, they're giving him the ball, him and Harris. But I would probably just go with that. All right, next one. Ethan, full PPR. Hopkins, Collins, or Palmer? So Collins, offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick's doing a really nice job getting him in space. And even though there's going to be a lot of pressure on the quarterback in this game from Pittsburgh, and Obviously, Houston's missing their 4 of their linemen. I think Collins gets very involved, but I can't really sit Hopkins here. Treylon Burks is out, and we know we're going to pepper them with targets. And Cincinnati, as good as they are defensively, I just don't think they have anybody that could just take the ball away from DeAndre Hopkins. So I think he gets his targets here. And I think he probably gets you 7 catches. He's the safest of them all. I think Collins is more boom bust. If the pressure is a real problem, then Collins may have a bad game. But I think with the slants and the yards after the catch, he could have real upside here. I'm going to leave Palmer out of this discussion. So Hopkins is very safe, very high floor, but I don't know that he scores more than 15 PPR points. But that might be enough. Collins, he could have a monster game, but I think there's the same probability he comes up, with a 3 for 30. So I'm going to say Hopkins the safest. Collins a little more boom bust. Let me watch this play here. An incomplete. Admiral, Kenny Gainwell or Khalil Herbert. If you expect the Denver and the Bears going to be close, which I do, Herbert gets the work when they're close. When they're in hurry-up mode, Roschon Johnson gets the work. I think it's going to be a close game. If you think the Bears are going to get blown out here, you got to go with Gainwell. I think it's going to be close, so I'm going to go with Herbert because I think this Denver defense is bad. And Herbert gets 7 to 9 carries. We could see 1 or 2 long runs out of that. Gainwell, it's not a great matchup. It's not a bad matchup. He's getting some usage, but I would make a 51-49 on Herbert, but if you got a gut feel, go with it. Uncle Ted, you love that Roschon Johnson. He may, if they get behind, he can really have a game. And there's a touchdown for Drake London. Let's see if he caught that. Hang on, trying to wave incomplete. No, maybe, I guess he scored. Now everybody's like, they're looking like they're not even happy, but they did score. So finally, Desmond Ridder gets him on the board. 11:30 left in the third quarter, 17, probably 7 if the extra point goes. All right. And Uncle Ted thinks Roschon will have more than Bijan. All right. Let's see what else you got here. And all right, let's see. Ethan. Achane or Rashad. I'm going to go with Achane. Rashad White just is not good. I mean, it's that simple. Somebody gets a volume, and that helps him. But this week at New Orleans is a very, very good run defense. And Tampa's offensive line is not good. And White, he gained this weight, but it's in the upper body. He still has lean legs, and he gets down. He gets hit in the legs, and he goes right down. So Achane is your play there, I think. Even if he gets 8 touches. Laura and Jim Cooperman, PPR, Warren, Roschon, Tank Dell. Tank Dell is a play this week. I think the reason I like him is he'll run the slot. And Pittsburgh's going to get a lot of pressure on C.J. Stroud. And I think the slot may be the area of least resistance. And so I do like Tank Dell in this one. It is a dart throw across the board, as you indicate in your question. So if you had a gut feel on one, go with it. My slight lean would be to Tank Dell. And Uncle Ted predicted 2 touchdowns from Parham last week. Predicts another one today. Definitely could happen. Playing the Raiders, too. Lamar Jackson or Anthony Richardson. Wow. Well, I'm going to go Anthony Richardson here. They're playing the Rams. Rams defense is not good. Lamar, they're facing Cleveland. Now, Lamar doesn't have weapons either. Bateman's down, Beckham's down, Zay Jones, the other opponents learned he just want to throw him screen passes, so his yardage has gone down each week. Andrews hasn't looked dominant yet. So I'm going to go to Anthony Richardson there. Delroy, Stevenson or Javonte. Javonte's playing the Bears. I think that's the way to go. Stevenson just isn't getting done. The offensive line isn't blocking at all for them. They're just not opening up any holes. Stevenson's paying a heavy price for that right now, and I think that's the problem. Chad, side note, the Toy Story London game having the nice. I didn't see the Toy Story one. I wish I said, Wendy, good to see you. Glad you're here. Randy, Standard League need one of Herbert, Collins, or Tutu Atwell. Atwell seeing like 9 targets a game, and Indy can't cover. They have a terrible secondary. I think Tutu's the safest play out of these. I think Collins probably has the highest ceiling of the group. The routes he's running have been very favorable in this offense. They get him open, but the pressure is going to come today on Stroud. So that makes Collins a little more boom bust. If you want a safe, solid Standard League. So Standard League, you're probably going to get about 60, 65 yards out of Tutu. Collins is going to be like he could go 30, he can go 120. So if you want a higher upside, but you're willing to risk a little floor, I'd go with Collins. If it's my lineup, I'm probably starting Collins right here. Herbert's a fine play as well, but I think I like Collins a bit better. All right. Adrian, half PPR, need one and a receiver and a flex. Herbert, Meyer, Sutton, and Tank Dell. So Sutton's getting volume. I know they want to run the ball, but I think in this game they could do pretty much what they need to do. I'm gonna in Myers probably still sees targets in this one, and I'm not really too concerned he's going to lose a lot of volume, but it's going to be a drop off to Aiden O'Connell. It definitely is. So I think we just go with Herbert and Sutton. I like Tank Dell here. But Herbert, I think, is against a really bad defense. 7 or 9 carries can get him to 70 yards, and I could see a big play or two. So I'm going to say Herbert and Sutton, but obviously, per your question, Myers and Dell are right in the mix. So if you feel strongly about either of them, get them in your lineup and don't feel bad. There's not one of those guys that's irreplaceable. This isn't a slam dunk by any, but I do feel Herbert and Sutton are your best opportunities. Tyler, Pacheco, Sanders, and Ford, you're going to pick 2. So Sanders is healthy enough to play in his matchup. I like it. So we're gonna roll with him. And look, Pacheco, I know they're playing the Jets, but the Jets are gonna have to play against the passer. They're gonna have to drop coverage. And that's what the Chiefs count on. And their run blocking is very good. It's picking up. It started out a little slow, but the components there are going to be fine. Ford, he's touchdown or bust. That's what we saw last week. He was terrible, but he got 2 touchdowns and he cashed. I think Baltimore is going to be up to the task against the run there. So I'm going to sit Ford in that trio. B. Ali needs some upside. Gabe Davis. I'm going to go DJ Moore here. I looked up on PFF. Patrick Surtain plays man 29% of the time. Means 71% of the time he doesn't. That means DJ Moore is going to be up against zone or off coverage. And so I do think DJ Moore, Davis's problem is, in my mind, Miami drops coverage. Big plays, they don't give up big plays. Typically, they can. Any team can. But Fangio's defense limits those big plays. So I'm going to go that route. Chad, Bryce Young. Yeah, I think it is a cute play because Brian Flores blitzes the heck out of his opponents. And because he knows he doesn't have talent. And that offensive line in Carolina has not lived up. Their 2 guards haven't played this year. And their tackles have not played up to par. Though that blitz is going to be a problem for Bryce Young. So I would not get cute and start. I would not start Bryce Young here. I don't think it's a good opportunity. And I don't know that he's able to get the ball downfield and make the best advantage of a player like Chark, too. I know Thielen and he are working together well. Yeah, maybe a little too cute. Admiral, you're welcome. Penguin, you're nuts for starting Dorian Robinson? Probably not. It depends what your other option is, but it's not in a 2-quarterback league. If you lost somebody, yeah, you got to scrape. So anybody's viable in a 2-quarterback league. He might run a bit. The unknown might help him against Baltimore. Baltimore obviously didn't game plan for him, so there's certainly that. We have no idea what the upside is. We have no idea what the floor is. But I do think he's protected with the offensive line. They've had weapons in the short area they can utilize. So, and I don't think they can establish a big run game. So, yeah, I think he's reasonable. I think he should get you a touchdown. He should get you at least 180 yards through the air, I would think. And he could run for 25, 30. So, yeah, I can see it. Chad, also on the QB, if Ritter wasn't benched, half is actually want to take him again. I know. And the funny thing was, I talked about it in my Sirius XM show this morning and even yesterday, is that the thing with Desmond Ritter is I believed he was in because he typically doesn't turn the ball over, and Arthur Smith can't have his quarterback doing that. And he should have been 3 picks in the first half. 2 were definitely picks, 1 was pick 6. The other one was a flat out drop by the defender. So he got a little bit lucky there. But that was the thing that should get him benched. But it's possible he has enough latitude because he hasn't been a turnover machine. 1 game, bad game, it happens. But that's the whole thing. So, yeah, I don't know. You see, the problem with Tyler Heineke is we get it that he brings up more upside to the offense, but he's like Dr. YOLO, and he's the guy that's going to make the mistakes as much as he makes the big plays. And I think that volatility probably scares Arthur Smith. But again, if Ritter starts to keep turning the ball over, then that takes that out of the equation. Then you have to go to him. I'm going to watch this play. And Kevin's up. So we got 17-7, 9 minutes left. The Jaguars are getting near the 50-yard line. They got Ridley to 1 pass for the touchdown. Or they may have gotten a pass in the second half. I'm trying to do the stream, so I don't know that they got him as passer. But, it's been a weird season for the Jaguars. Earlier games, they had drop passes. They look fine. They're just making these little errors, and for fantasy, it's piling up because we're not getting fantasy numbers out of them. But they're right there. I mean, it's going to happen. The offensive line issue is a problem, and Atlanta is better this year. adding Calais Campbell to the defensive line really helped, and the linebacker. So they're getting pressure. Delroy, Collins, Flowers, or more. You know what? Flowers is the screen pass machine, and the league already figured that out. And so his yards have gone down every week. And so that's been a real problem. So I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to ride with Nico Collins. He's our alpha. And DJ Moore, you heard me talk about Patrick Surtain playing man only 29% of the time. So I like that. Uncle Ted, if Mims gets that increased snap share, there's rumors that he's going to be integrated in the offense. Otherwise, the snap share is like 24 and 27% per game, not enough to to sustain. But if he's playing a full-time role, yeah, the Bears can't stop him. Jalen Johnson's out, Kyler Gordon's out, Eddie Jackson's out, and they stink anyway, and they can't get a pass rush. So he definitely can have a big game. All right, let's see what we got here. Admiral, better bench stash to beat the waiver wire: Godwin, Gainwell, or Deontay Johnson. Godwin's going to come around. It's they funnel a ton of targets to Mike Evans, but the history of Mayfield was that even with Jarvis Landry, he gets his, he can get that type of player the ball. Average 977 yards with Jarvis Landry the season before his shoulder went bad. So probably Godwin. I'd probably say Godwin. Deontay, that offense is rough. All right, Randy, half PPR. Would I sit out DJ Moore, Gabe Davis, Addison, or Tank Dell? Of those four, I'd probably sit Tank Dell. That pressure, I like his slot matchup, but I mean, Pittsburgh could really cause them some problems here. So that's probably the way I would lean. I would probably sit Tank Dell. I would give a strong consideration to Gabe Davis because they Miami limits the big play with their shell. Adrian, you're welcome. Kevin, need 2.5 PPR. Debo, Cooper, Hopkins, or Thielen. Debo's not 100%. He didn't practice all week, and I don't know how much they're going to need him here. You're really taking a risk if you're going with him. Cooper should get enough work. Hopkins is going to get a lot of targets. Now, here's the thing with Thielen. He can't run, but somehow he's getting open, and I don't know how that's physically possible, but he had a huge week with Andy Dalton last week. He did okay with Young. The revenge game, there's all that. I do think Cooper and Hopkins are your best plays, but if you feel that Thielen has another big game in him, you could consider playing him over Cooper. You definitely make that consideration. If it's my lineup, I'm starting Cooper and Hopkins because Debo is not nearly 100%, and it's just so hard to trust Thielen. And Andy Dalton, Dalton better arm. I know he doesn't have a strong arm, but anyway, that's the way I'd go in that. Joseph, more than you as well. Standard format. Ramondre, Mostert, or Madison. I got to go with Mostert. He has gotten it done all 3 weeks. Buffalo's not going to look to stop the run. They're going to look to stop the pass. They're scheming the speed and all through the run game. The run game system has improved from last year. We're going to go with that. I'm going to say Mostert. Oh, yeah. Ramondre, yeah, Mostert. Yep, we were doing that. And then Delroy. I was making sure I got the names right. Delroy, who decided Denver defense or Baltimore defense? Yeah, now with Dorian and quarterback, that kind of changes the equation here. And then Denver against the Bears. Denver's just terrible. They can't run. They have no team speed. They're down multiple pass rushers. They're down multiple safeties. I'm going to say Baltimore against the guy in his first start. That's how I'm going to go. Andrea, good morning. Glad you're here. Gus Edwards or Matt. We're going to go Gus Edwards there. Edwards, you know what? Edwards is like 5 yards of carry like money. And it's not an easy matchup this week. But you know what? Matt Breida, I mean, he got lucky. He got the touchdown last week because Matt Breida played 82% of the snaps, and they don't want him on the field. They don't want to use him. And Seattle has actually been much better against the run this year. Bobby Wagner is getting exposed in passing game, but when they're running the ball, it's not even close. So I'm going to go with Gus Edwards here. I'm going to trust him. Chris, Kyron Williams, Zach Moss, or Swift. I'm going to go with Swift there, and for sure. Swift's rolling. No reason to think he can't do the same against Dijon. We don't. I mean, back to Swift. I was watching a football game for a second there, but Swift's you got to roll with him right now. And then look, Kyron Williams gets a ton of volume. His matchup, though, against Indy, it's bad. DeForest, Buckner, and Grover Stewart, they don't give up much squat in the middle of the running game. And Williams sometimes gets targets, and that pads him. But Zach Moss has been cashing since the last 4 weeks when he took over the starting job in Indy. He has just been every week starter. And he's down a couple linemen, but the Rams are not good against the run. Jessica, you've got Nico or Ford. Again, Ford, he got the open touchdown pass last week. He did get another rushing touchdown, but otherwise not good. Collins had a little down week, but it was just one of those games. And I know that the matchup's not good. Pittsburgh's going to blitz. They're going to bring heat, but they're really scheming Collins as that alpha receiver on those slant routes, and they're going to be there. And so Ford could fall in the end zone. That could happen, and that could make his day. I'm going to go with Collins overall because Collins has the same probability of being able to score a touchdown, but I think his floor is so much better. Again, he is the alpha in that offense. Andrea, Mostert, Sanders, or James Conner. Right now, I just in all three are great options. You obviously know that. You asked the very good question. I can't sit Mostert right now. They've deployed that team speed. They've leveraged it, and they've improved the run scheme. And right now, just 3 weeks in a row, he's gotten it done. And he's getting enough work. So I'm going to roll with him. Sanders, his offensive line has been bad. He's fine this week. Connor has a terrible matchup. And again, he's always going to get cashed in. But Mostert right now is the guy. And it's really hard to sit him. Jay, Njoku, or Ertz, PPR. All right, see what we got here. Look, I don't know what Njoku's situation with the Burns. And now with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I really don't know what to expect. They might want to block their tight ends more here. Against Baltimore, they might want to protect their quarterback a little bit more. Ertz didn't do it last week, but he's getting targets. And I don't worry. The 49ers are not going to take Fred Warner and say, all right, go stop Zach Ertz. They're not going to waste their breath on that. Ertz can't run anymore, so they're not scared by him. I think the game's a blowout, so Ertz is going to get some late catches. I'm going to give Ertz the 55-45 nod here because, again, I'm concerned about Njoku's physical health with a burned face and arm. Delroy, yeah, thank you. If you're enjoying the show, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. Please consider give me a follow on X or Twitter at Jim Coventry NFL. All my information weekly goes there. And I think next week we'll probably just revert to this. We're going to decide on the Saturday or Sunday stream for next week whether we do this. This one it was last minute, and we have very few viewers. There's a game on. I hate to compete with the NFL, so I think we probably just do the Saturday next week. So be ready for that. Chad, any value in stashing Equinemius saver? No. His last year, he had all the opportunity to play, and he was getting 1 to 3 targets a game. So I don't think so. Admiral, you're welcome. Chad. And if, I can't fault that, right? I mean, maybe he does something. But you see, Equinemius St. Brown, the Bears love him as a blocker. He's a very good blocking receiver. I know everybody laughs when I say that, but he is. And they have a purpose for him. And they don't look to him as a guy they want to force the ball to. But, Denver's terrible. So could he do something? Yes. Mooney's the more likely guy to go off here. I don't know what his knee is like, but he's off the injury report, so there's that. Disco Dave, Roshan, or Jalen Warren. If you think the Bears are going to lose big, Johnson is the receiving back. He would have the game. I think it's close, so I don't think he gets a ton of work. I think Jalen Warren is already going to get you close to double-digit touches. And the matchup is great. Playing Houston, so I'm going to go with that. Andrea, Rice or Shaheed? So I'm not excited about the Rashee Rice matchup against the Jets. I think that's a tougher matchup for him. Shaheed, however, targets is a problem, right? Now, here's the thing, though. Tampa's down Jamel Dean. I don't know if Carlton Davis playing inactives come out soon, but he's missed the last 2 weeks and he's limited in practice. So, but they're not going to put him on him anyway. I think there's easy opportunity to pass the ball here. So I would probably go Rashid Shaheed here. Jesse James, full PPR. Who do you say? A-Chan, Swift, or Cook? Wow, that's a good problem to have. You know what? Cook is going to be in good shape here. Miami doesn't care about the run. They care about the pass, and they don't really get after the run on purpose. So I got to play Cook. And Swift is on fire right now. Well, who's on more fire than Devin A-Chan? But, I would go Swift and Cook. But James Cook doesn't get red zone work, so there's that. I would still play Swift and Cook right now because they are stable number one options in their backfields. Jesse James, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Hitting the like button. Joseph, you're very welcome. Johnny, stuck between Myers, Mostert, Jacobs as a flex. Let's see here. I got to go Mostert. Mostert's, he's getting it done every single week. I don't see a read in Buffalo's. Again, they're not looking to stop the run here. And Jacobs hasn't gotten it going, an easy matchup, but he just hasn't gotten it going. He looks like a guy who's coming off a career year who didn't train really hard while he was unhappy with his contract. Myers, just enough of a downgrade at quarterback to give me concern. So I think we're going to go with that. Lee, Breida, or Roschon. Now, here I'm going to go Roschon. The Giants played Breida 81% of the snaps last week. They barely got. Brightwell had just about as many touches on like 17% of the touches. They don't want to use them. And Seattle's much better against the run than they were last year. Roschon's more likely to get you some catches with your 0.5. So I'm going to go with that. Kevin, Jackson, Stroud, or Russell Wilson. You only need one. Russell Wilson's dangerous because Denver wants to run the ball if they can. And if they control this game, they might not throw a lot. But if they choose to throw, the Bears can't stop them. If they really want to get Wilson on track, this would be the game to do it. I don't know what Sean Payton's going to do here. Jackson's the safest of the three. Stroud, this 1 week, I'd like to use him against Pittsburgh. I think this is the week where he's going to have a little bit of a hard time missing 4 linemen with that Pittsburgh pass rush. I think that's problematic. So I'm going to go with Lamar here, but your boom bust play is Russell Wilson. And it's, again, I don't know what Sean Payton's going to do, and that's why. So Jackson should run for enough. He's not going to throw for many yards, but he could run for 75, 80, and he could run for a touchdown or two. So, yeah, I think that's what we're going to look at here. And all right, let's see here. Eric, waiting on the Sanders news. He is expected to play for what it's worth, but there's always hesitation there. I would probably pivot to Pacheco if you did, because I think the Jets have to come in with a mindset of playing the pass. I think they can't go with their normal alignment because they put the Chiefs with so many receivers into the formation that they have to account for that and probably play dime. So I think that gets Pacheco free yards. David, Pickett at Houston or Jones? Oh, man. Surprising with Houston, we all think Houston's terrible. 2 years running, they are very good against the pass. And that's when they're missing people. Like last week, down 2 corners, down a safety. They still were fine. And this week, they get the safety. Like Petrie's back. I'm going to go with Daniel Jones against Seattle. I think he runs for some yards. And I think they can funky it up enough in the passing game to get him some production. I mean, it's a tough call. You know that. But Pickett, I'm not really feeling Pickett here because Houston will bring pressure. They know he's susceptible to pressure. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Randy, would I rather roster Hopkins, Mims, Dubs? You know what? I would most likely roster Hopkins. They force feed him the ball, and I think that's where it ends. Mims, got to trust Russell Wilson. Now, I know he had some deep connections, but if he's on the field regularly and teams game plan for him, it's a little different of a ball game because the whole thing is, right, they didn't have any team speed without him on the field. When playing 27% of the snaps, defenses aren't worried about that. Dubs, once Christian Watson's a full go next week and Aaron Jones is a full go next week, Dubs sees his target shrink. Rice and Palmer, not more than Hopkins, so no. Mo Green, Barkley doubtful. I heard Montgomery. I did start Montgomery. Good. So you're down to Roschon, Charbonnet, Warren, and Cam Akers. I wish I knew what they were doing with Akers. I can't honestly say I do know the answer to that question. That's the problem. So I would love to say Akers, and I think they're going to use him, and I think he's going to have a good game, but I have nothing to base that on other than knowing he is way better than Alexander Madison. So outside of that, I would probably recommend Jaylen Warren, who we know is going to get enough touches, and Houston is not a good run defense. So I think that's the way I would go with that. Roschon's close, but again, if the Bears are in a close game, it's a little more Khalil Herbert. DK, 2 PPR, running back 2 in a flex. Kyron, Mostert, Moss, and Devontae. So you need 2 of these. All right. So Devontae is going to be number 1. I think the targets come back this week. They force-fed A.J. Brown to make him happy. I think it acclimates this week, so we're good there. And then number 2 is going to be Mostert. Right now he's red hot. He's like nearly impossible to sit. Zach Moss is close, but he is number 3. Kyron Williams is a tough matchup, and he's getting volume, and God bless him for that. And the one game he had a ton of targets, and that is great. But it's not a good matchup against Indy. Grover, Stewart, DeForest Buckner are beasts against the run. Andrea, you need 3. Palmer, Addison, DJ Moore, Zay Flowers. I will sit Zay Flowers in that one. All three corners are playing well for Cleveland. They're playing suppressed man. They're getting a ton of pressure. And I think they already know that they want to use Zay Flower in the screen. They're going to make it tough and force Lamar to go to his next read. And he's down a lot of receivers here. So that's the one I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit Flowers. Palmer should be involved. Addison's involved. DJ Moore, like I said earlier, Patrick Surtain plays man 29% of the time. It means 71% of the time he doesn't. They're either in zone, or and that's it. Zone more. And I think DJ Moore gets open enough. So Disco Dave, you're very welcome, man. Very welcome. Andrea, need one. Rashad White, Achane. I'm going to go with Achane right away. They're supposed to give him more work. Buffalo's not looking to stop the run. DK, Richardson, or Purdy. The only thing that worries me about Purdy is that they're so successful running the ball. They don't need to throw, but he still gets it. I think they could score 40 this week. So, Richardson is a fine play. The Rams are not a good defense. I think Richardson has a higher floor than Purdy this week. I think Purdy has more upside because I think that Rams Indy game could be low scoring. Whereas I think Purdy, I think they're going to put a good number of points on the board. But the safest play is Richardson. But he's got knocked out of both games he's played. So there's that. If it's my lineup right now, if I want to bank some safe points and it's a good high floor, I'm going Purdy. If I feel I'm an underdog and I need to really shoot for the moon, then I'm going to take a chance on Richardson, hoping he has a couple run plays that turn out big. Delroy, Goddard or Ertz. You know what? We're going to go with Goddard here. The targets are there. He's had the targets 2 weeks in a row. And look, if Goddard and Ertz are both getting targets, give me Goddard because Goddard could run, Ertz can't. So that'll be the way to go. And like I said, I don't think that Dallas – I don't think the 49ers are going to put Fred Warner on Ertz. They don't have to waste their time with that. But their linebackers are so much faster than him. Kevin, Gainwell or Hill? We're going to go Gainwell here. Hill is not 100%. He's got a turf toe. And he's not a good running back to start. And I don't like the matchup against Cleveland. Jesse, one more, and you're welcome. Lamar Jackson or Tua? We got to play Tua here. Buffalo's corners, they run like 4.5s. They're slow. They're missing Poyer, the safety, which that's going to hurt them in some of these complex route combinations. That offense is humming right now. The league may not figure it out, but if they do, it's not going to be for many weeks. It's not going to be anything really quick. So we got to go with Tua. We got to ride the high hand. Lamar's just down too many weapons, and it's a bad matchup. Eric, I think I'd start Thielen over Flowers. Last week, remember this. Last week, they came with Andy Dalton, and that's a big difference from Bryce Young right now. But Flowers, we've seen the yardage go down every week. He's a screen pass guy, and he's going to get pressed by the Browns corners, and that pass rush is real. So I am going to go with Thielen here. David, flex from Robinson, Moore, Everett, Kendre Miller, Chark, and Quentin Johnson. I love Chark when we have Andy Dalton in. I don't think Bryce Young is getting it downfield, so I don't like that. Quentin Johnson, I really need to know what his role is right now. We don't. We got to see him. Since you have other options. Kendre Miller, I don't know how much work he gets. So I'm going to go with DJ Moore here. I cite the stat that Patrick Surtain plays man 29% of the time. So I think Moore is open enough. Mo, you're welcome. And Uncle Ted, yep, Bijan is a beast. Todd, need one for flex PPR. Moss, Stevenson, or Achane. Moss is down a couple linemen. The matchup is still really good. Achane, it's hard to see him putting the genie back in the bottle. I would expect to give him more work. Buffalo is not looking to stop the run. Moss is this high floor, safe play because he's good every week. Achane, I think, will have a fair floor and have some real ceiling because the big plays with the way they're leveraging speed could be there. Moss is safest. Achane is a little more volatile, but I think he does have more upside. I would base it on that. Because of the two offensive line injuries for Moss, that's why I put Achane ahead of him right now. And Uncle Ted, you might be right about Stevenson, but man, I see a Zeke Elliott revenge game here, and I think Bill Belichick is into that. We'll see, but I do think that's going to happen there. And I could see Purdy throwing 3 touchdowns for sure. David, you're very welcome. Christian Kirk again moving the chains. End of the third quarter, 17-7. Randy, this is going to be a low-scoring game, Browns-Ravens, I have to say here. And the Cleveland defense is just so for real. and I don't know how Baltimore's going to consistently move the ball. They're going to have to Lamar run for some, so he'll be like okay there. I think the Browns are still able to have some success on offense, but I think their defense is a low scoring game, and it's really hard with Dorian Thompson-Robinson now to predict. I had earlier said Cleveland. I predict them to win, but now that really makes this game a little bit different. I think the Ravens are probably a 60% chance to win this one, but I think it's a lot of hodgepodge. I don't think there's any specific game flow to this thing. I think it's gonna be a very disjointed game. Gus Edwards get a little bit done. I don't know that anybody goes off here. I don't think any one player goes off here. Elijah Moore, if anybody, Elijah Moore could because of his speed. But again, he hasn't had the big plays yet. He's getting volume. Jesse, full PPR, you need to sit one. The big dog, Jacobs, Kamara. And then, so of all, McLaurin, Debo, Michael Thomas. Man, you know what? I hate to say this, man, but the big dog isn't getting it done. And they're playing Cincinnati, who Reeder and Hill in the middle are tough. And Derrick Henry snaps are way, way down. Tyjae Spears is often out snapping him. So difficult to say it, but Debo's not 100%. And if they don't need him, he might be a decoy. He hasn't practiced all week. So you know what? For that reason, I'm going to sit Debo. And if they get a lead, they might pull him out. So let's just say that. But I don't like Henry here. Don't like Henry at all. So if your gut says Debo is not hurt enough, but even though he didn't practice all week, he's well enough, then okay. But that'd be it. Laura, Jim Cooperman, Roshan, or Warren. I'm going to go with Warren there. Now, if you think the Bears are going to get blown out by Denver, then it's Roshan. I think it'll be a close game. And Roshan plays more in that hurry-up role. Warren kind of has a dead hero. Charlene, welcome back. Good. I wasn't supposed to be here today, but we ended up doing the show. So I'm glad you're here. Andrea, Gus Edwards, Cam Akers, Matt Breida, or Spears. I probably lean Gus Edwards here. Like I said, I would love to think Cam Akers is involved. I'd love to say he's the lead back. I have no evidence to base that on. And because of that, I can't go with my gut instinct. I've got to say Gus Edwards gets enough work. Cleveland is good against the run, but Gus Edwards seems to always get it done. He gets his 5 yards of carry, and they don't give him a ton of work, and he has a better chance of them all scoring a touchdown. And that's where I'm going to go. Don't like the matchup for Spears, and actually don't like it for Breida. Seattle's way better against the run than they were last year. Jay Red, should you drop Njoku and pick up Knox? I would pick up Logan Thomas is who I would pick up. 8 targets in week 1, 3 in week 2, but he got knocked out in the third one, which is a touchdown catch with a concussion. His backup got 5 targets. They are hammering the tight end with targets. Evan Ingram, little run after the catch there. All right, I would go with Logan Thomas. That's who I would sign up. And because they're playing Philly, terrible up the spine. They're number 32 against the tight end. That's the player I would pick up. And then and I think Logan Thomas, as long as he's healthy, he's getting targets every week. That's the way that offense works. And I would start them. That's the way I would do it. Ertz, again, he can't run. He gets catches, but not against the 49ers linebackers. Again, they won't put Fred Warner on a man-to-man, but those linebackers are way too fast for Ertz. Ertz might get 4 catches for 15 yards. It might be something stupid like that. Ricardo, I'm going to go Prescott here. CJ, I love CJ. Love him. I expect Pittsburgh to bring a crap ton of pressure, and without 4 linemen and 2 backups for the Texans, that's a tough sell. I love CJ though, love him, but Prescott I think is your play this week. Remember, Pats are down 3 cornerbacks, so 2 on IR and another one inactive today. Uncle Ted, Quentin Johnson certainly could break out today. I don't know how they're going to use him, but if they use him as an downfield capacity, the Raiders are not going to be able to deal with that, I don't think. Jay Red. So today it's been a disjointed passing game. They got Ridley for a touchdown. The last 2 weeks he was dropping passes. He dropped a 2 or 3 touchdown passes. It was a rough go for him. But since the halftime of week 1, he hasn't done anything. But I don't see anything that makes me think that that's not going to get corrected. He's still getting open. Lawrence is just, they're hitting snags. They're breaking down on offense. I think the game planning's got to get streamlined. I think Doug Peterson's got to take back the play calling. But I know it's tough to sit with it right now. And unfortunately, Ridley did get in the end zone today. So there's that. I think he's going to be fine. Oh, Charlene, you can always ask questions on the weekend. Yep, and no, believe me, you are one of my best supporters, and there's never a bad time. And thank you. There's never a bad time to ask me a question. And Uncle Ted not sitting Devo, but like I said, he didn't practice all week long, and he could be a decoy, so be cognizant of that. Love to see him have a huge day, but again, if he is really injured, Kyle Shanahan's not going to risk his future season in a game against Arizona at home that they know they're probably going to win. Tommy B, weird league, 2 points for 10 rush yards. Pick one: Sanders, Hopkins, or Gabe Davis. I'm going to go with Hopkins. Treylon Burks is out. Hopkins, we've seen they force feed him targets, and that's enough for me. That is enough for me. Charlene, thank you. Yeah, please, if you consider hitting the like and subscribe button, we appreciate that greatly. Thank you so much for that. Eric, Ridley has 2 receptions. Yeah, exactly. And right, you get the touchdown, right? It looks fantasy football, right? That 30-yard touchdown. There's that's 10 PPR points. And is it a great day? No, but that catch right there. All right, you got 10 PPR points and better days to come. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Ridley's going to be fine. It's not right. He's not going to be a 1,300-yard receiver right now. We can throw that one out for this year because it's already a quarter of the season and those yards aren't there. But he's going to be fine. He's not going to be a wide receiver 1. He's going to be a mid-range wide receiver 2. And if things get better, he might elevate from there. And as I'm talking, watch him get another touchdown. They're inside the 30, so we'll see what happens here. Christian Kirk's getting a lot of targets here. All right, Isaac, starting Stroud over Lamar. Again, totally get it. Lamar's not going to throw for a lot of yardage here. If he doesn't run for big yardage, it's problematic. I am just very nervous about the blitz that Pittsburgh's going to bring. Pittsburgh's been crippling some of these offenses with that rush and pressure, and Stroud's down 4 linemen and 2 backups. He's gotten it done so far, and I love him. But it's close. And again, gut call, go with your gut on that. You because I easily could see Stroud outscoring Lamar. Totally could see it. Jay Red, you picked up Knox and Thomas. Very nice. Yeah, Logan Thomas is a play today based on what he's done. Like the opponent, his role in the offense, it's very real. And there he goes up top. Oh, dropped a touchdown. I mean, not really. It was a tough catch. I don't even know who 22 is. I'm sorry. Don't even know who 22 is. Is it Tim? No, Tim Jones is 15. Don't know who 22 is. I don't have the volume on, so I don't know. And I know that Agnew's inactive today, so he was 38. I don't know who 22 is. Parker Washington, I think, is out. So I don't know. If anybody knows who 22 is for the Jaguars, let me know. I definitely don't know who that is. I should know, but I don't. All right. Chad, Mingo, a lost cause to 4th in the depth chart. And what's this now? And potentially a healthy. It's frustrating, right? Mingo, I thought in college, that college offenses often don't best leverage somebody with like a specific skill set. Getting Mingo in space is like a huge advantage. And in the NFL, we're hopeful a coaching staff will do a better job of that. I think they're figuring out a lot of things right now. And they invested in Thielen. Chark, for what he's worth when he's healthy, he is a good player. So, yeah, right now, he's tough. And I think Stroud's going to struggle this year. The line has not been good. 2 of their interior linemen haven't played all season, and that's hurt. Their tackles haven't played as well as we thought they would. So it's a bit of an issue. All right, Marcos, Puka or Lockett? We always love Lockett, right? Lockett's a great player. We haven't seen a lot of his upside. Puka's still getting targets. And last week, I know Cincinnati had a really good answer for them. The Colts don't have corners. And so I do think that works. And Charlene, yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is that quarterback today. So we were telling people, Charlene, earlier that we downgrade Cooper a little bit. I think Cooper's still going to get targets, and Marlon Humphrey, the corner, is out. So, he's not going to see crazy coverage. The 2 outside linebackers for the Ravens starters are out. That's going to hurt their pressure packages. So, yeah, it's a tough one. Elijah Moore gets a lot of short stuff, so I think that he could retain his role. He hasn't done a lot with it, but with his speed, we could see something happen there. But overall, is a downgrade, total downgrade for the offense because we don't know. He's not Deshaun Watson, and Watson's been playing well. So, but yes, if you have Watson in your lineup, get him out. Maybe in some leagues, if it's shallow, Brock Purdy is a free agent. He can have a big game. They look down the list if you're in that pinch and see who's out there for you. I would imagine, again, one in regular 12-team leagues that have short benches. I would, let's say Purdy is available, number 1. Let's see who else we could maybe look at here. Derek Carr is supposed to be healthy enough to play, and Tampa's down at least one cornerback, and the other one's beat up real bad. So there's a possibility there. I'm trying to think of who might be out there. I'm looking at the other teams. If Russell Wilson is out there, they might run the ball up, but they're playing the Bears. The Bears are down 3 players in their secondary. Those are all options if you're stuck at quarterback that you might be looking if you needed somebody for Watson. Eric Collins, Rashad, Brees Hall, Mims, or Chuba. I'm going Nico. He's the alpha there. He runs the alpha routes. Bobby Slowick scheming him into space. It's a very positive situation. Rashad White is a bad matchup. Brees Hall, just because of Zach Wilson, he's screwed. Teams are just overloading the box. And then Mims, maybe, right? He had 27% or less snaps. They'd say they're going to put him into the offense more. We haven't seen it. Do I believe it yet? If they're running, but right now I don't think you play Mims over Nico Collins because they misconnect on that deep ball. And then Chuba, again, right now as far as, and it's 10:49. If somebody knows if Sanders is inactive, let me know, but I think he is active. And Ski Sauce 80, DJ Moore or Hopkins. I think since Treylon Burks is out, Hopkins is going to get force-fed targets. And DJ Moore, it's not like he's going to be locked down with Patrick Surtain. Surtain plays man 29% of the time. So there's that. But I just think DeAndre Hopkins gets so many targets force-fed him, and his ankle seems to be better. I think that's the way we're looking here. But I think Moore has potential for upside. We haven't seen it yet. But I do believe if they do get the ball in his hands, he can do a lot of good things against a slow Denver defense that's down at least one safety. I know Justin Simmons was a game-time decision. You guys will know if he's active or not because I'm doing the stream, and I don't know if he's inactive or not. But that's the way I would go. I'd go Hopkins, but if you want upside, go DJ Moore. Thomas, full PPR. Mostert, Swift, or Moss. Oh, man. But so, look, I love Zach Moss, but I can't put him with Swift and Mostert right now. Swift to that offensive line is just insanity. So that's a beautiful thing for him. But Mostert is tough to sit too because they're leveraging that speed so well, and Buffalo's going to play to stop the pass. Swift is the safest option because I do think nobody's a lock to do anything, but he's close to a lock to have, 12, 14 carries and close to 100 yards against Washington with that line. But Mostert's been insane. So I would start Swift, but if your gut says Mostert, definitely go with that. Charlene, Gus is on the waiver wire, dropped out. You know what? They don't use Gus enough, and I don't know why. He is so darn good, and he gets 5 yards of carry like every year of his career, even when he's hurt, and moves the chains for him. He scores in the red zone, but yet they were giving Justice Hill like red zone carries. Like, what the hell are you doing? Seriously? And I would add Gus for Dowdle. I would do that. Why is the stupid Siri go?
Try again.
Siri going off on me here on the computer. Must have said something. Charlene, the other thing, what was I going to tell you? Oh, I was going to tell you something else, but now I don't remember. But I would do that. I would go Gus for that, and I was going to add something. I don't remember what it was. So if I think of it, I'll say it. Oh, I was asking how Texas did. Oh, I see down there. They won. Very nice. All right, and we'll see you then. See you later. Jay Red. Eagles defense. You start Thomas or Knox? I'm still starting Thomas. Logan Thomas, like I said, he got injured in the middle of the second game. He was on his way to a second productive game, and Philly can't stop tight ends. You start the Philly defense, and you start Logan Thomas. I'm betting the over on Logan Thomas. The yardage is low. It's like 20.5 yards, but I expect he gets 4 catches for about 35 yards with a decent chance of scoring here. And here's a little upside for more. Dawson Knox, he's real touchdown dependent, and he's splitting work. So, and he's gonna be a guy that's just gonna. Logan Thomas is like a stable part of that offense. All right, let me watch the play here. Bijan up the middle, continuing to do damage. 20-7, 8 minutes left, and the Falcons are running the football. Surprise, surprise, surprise. All right, Gus Edwards or Zay Flower in the flex, half PPR. You could put in both and replace Brees Hall. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I would play Edwards and Flowers over Brees Hall. It's not Brees Hall's fault. He's a superstar, but because of Zach Wilson, teams are just overloading and just making him difficult. And of course, Jonnu Smith going off here on a long catch. No, it's not Kyle Pitts. It's Jonnu Smith. And that'll be the 3rd straight week that Jonnu Smith will have outproduced Kyle Pitts. Imagine that. Oh, Hasty. Thank you, Chad. So yeah, JaMychal, he was inactive, I think, or didn't play a snap in the first couple of games. Surprised the guy on the app. That would be it. Thank you. JaMychal Hasty. Boy, what's setting off Siri? I don't know what it is. All right. Charlene, again, thank you. If you're here, have a great day. Good luck today. Ian, Zay Flowers or Ayuk. So again, Debo Samuel didn't practice all week. I assume he's not nearly 100%. I'm going to play Ayuk here. Flowers' yardage has gone down each week, and teams realize they're just going to throw him screens, so they're kind of around to that now. So I'd go with that. And Jay Red says Geno, if he's available. Geno, whatever that's in reference to, Geno does have a very good matchup this week, and the Giants' pass rush has not been getting it done like we thought they might. Thibodeau is not as strong as he had been end of last season, so we're going to do that. Does anybody have the status on Miles Sanders? Let me see here. I'm going to see if I can find it for you. Charlene or Smith out, Gary. Let's see. Minnesota. Derek Carr is active. Anthony Richardson. Treylon Burks, we knew inactive. Miles Sanders is active, Charlene. So you can use Miles Sanders as you normally would. And so we're good there. And Derek Herbert, or I think you mean Brian Robinson, maybe. Robinson doesn't have a good matchup. The Eagles last year were bad against the run. Man, I tell you, between Jalen Carter and second-year Jordan Davis, they're like really good against the run this year. And so Herbert has a great matchup. And even if he gets 7 to 9 carries, I think he's a big player too. And if the game's close, he might get more. I'm going to lean Herbert there. Kevon, Mike Evans, Chris Olave, or Puka. I'm going to go with Olave. Jamel Dean is out. Carlton Davis has missed 2 games. I'm going to see actually if he's out. Not that it really matters at this point, but see if I can find the Tampa Bay inactive for you real quick here. But that would be a big deal. Take a quick look here. Load more. Rashad Penny inactive. Surprise, surprise, surprise. So, yeah, Jamel Dean is – well, they do get Carlton Davis back, but again, it's not enough. It's not – I'm going to go Chris Olave. You played a superstar. Mike Evans is – but Mike Evans has Marshawn Lattimore on him, and that history has not been good. The history is Lattimore usually wins that battle, and that's been with Tom Brady and not with Baker. So I'm going to go with Olave there. Puka's always a good choice, but I can't sit Olave. All right, let me just see what we got here. A little downfield pass, connection here. Jonnu Smith again. All right, Chad. Yeah, I know. It is pain. It's torture to see. And I don't, London is obviously more than Mac Hollins today, but Hollins was getting more than Drake London. I don't get. James, Debo, Tank Dell, or Miles Sanders. Sanders is the safest of that group. He's healthy, so he's out there in these matchups. There's nothing scary here. Debo, my only concern, he has the biggest upside, but my concern is he didn't practice all week. He's not 100%. They may not need him the whole game. There's that. So a little bit of a concern there. I would be safe with Sanders, but if you need boom bust, then you would go with Debo. I do like Tank Dell, but not over those options. And Drake London could not get both feet down. And was that 4th and 3, or that was 4th and 3? Oh, man. All right. Derek, Kyron Williams, James Cook, or Tank Dell. James Cook. Cook is an amazing player right now. Buffalo is giving him the ball. They're aggressively putting the ball in his hands, and Miami does not look to stop the run. They look to stop the pass. It's a great thing. And Andrea, yes, they should sit Debo. If he didn't practice all week, you want him healthy. They don't need him in this game. And I don't think anybody wins in this scenario. So, but anyway, yeah, Drake London not close on that second foot. Not his fault. It was his great quarterback. All right, Johnny Reb, Gabe Davis, or Roschon Johnson. If you think the Bears are getting blown out, then Roschon gets a lot of passing down work, and then Roschon would be the choice. Gabe Davis is probably not going to get any big plays because Miami does a shell thing where they try to limit explosives. Gabe Davis would be my choice here, but if you think the Bears are going to get blown out, then it's Roschon Johnson because he'll get a lot of targets in that hurry up mode. Yeah, J Red Algier has a snap share has gone down each week. And obviously I don't have the numbers in front of you for today's game. He had carries. They're just the running game isn't having the effectiveness it had last year, and I don't understand. But they haven't had the effectiveness as last year, and that's a little bit of a problem. But yes, but they have Bijan, right? And that's the thing. So Bijan, they got to get him the ball because he's a superstar. But yeah, Algier isn't getting quite. But I mean, even in his bad game last week, he had 7 carries, and my guess is I have no idea. He's got to be close to that. And I mean, we said he would be a flex, and if you're getting 7 carries, he's just not getting enough of the yardage. So that will turn around. He'll be a flex though with the workload he gets. Roschon or Quentin Johnson. Ian, we don't know what Quentin Johnson's role is yet. They talked about him needing to learn the offense, and that worries me a little bit. I think Roschon is safer, and I'm going to go with him because I think just there's a little more volume potential. Quentin Johnson, again, I'm just not sure what they're going to do. If it's a learning curve and that's problematic, we just need to see him play a game. Since you have a good option, I think we go with a little bit of the somewhat known as opposed to like the near complete unknown. And Steven, I got to go. I'm waddling most of it, right? It's a win-win here. You can't really lose. But I do think that the Bills are going to go to great lengths to try to put some emphasis on Tyreek Hill. Not that they'll be successful, but that's going to open up more for Waddle. And Waddle only gets 5 or 6 targets in most games, but this could be like an 8 or 9 target game because it could be a higher scoring game. And I do think Waddle goes off here. But you can't go wrong with most either. He gets it done every single week. Charlene, you with Dell on the flex and Hubbard. You know what, Dell, I do like the Dell matchup here. The main thing is that we're going to see a lot of blitzing out of Pittsburgh. We know that already. And then the second part is that, well, the middle of the field, Pittsburgh doesn't cover that very well. And I think that's going to be the outlet. So Dell has a good game in him here, I would imagine. Yeah, let's see. So 20-7. And so, yeah, it looks like the Jaguars aren't going to get those fantasy points we hope. Pick 6, it's really never got it going. That early touchdown was nice. All right, Ellis, Cook or Madison? Dalvin Cook, I assume you mean, or Alexander Madison. So Dalvin Cook's just tough because that Zach Wilson's just like totally ruined the offense. Madison it's troublesome because look, we don't know. There's a world where Cam Akers is the starter. Maybe he's not. We have no idea. They've had mum on it, not a word. Akers could come in and take 80% of the work because Madison, they know he's not good. But so Cook is going to get some targets and they're going to trail. So I would probably give a real slight lean to Cook because he may get 6 targets in this game. But if Madison's the starter, then we got to look at it that way. That's what makes it difficult. Carolina has not been as good on defense as we thought they would be. So honestly, let's say this. I've got to defer to something for you on this. If you think Madison holds a starting job for one more week, or if you check a report, like do like a quick pregame Google search, like 30 minutes before, and see if something from Minnesota camp or their beat reporter said he's going to be the starter, play Madison. If there's like timeshare, it's got to be Cook in that case. And you know what, Charlene and Dell will probably scare you most weeks, right? Because we saw last week he had the big game. One play, Jacksonville didn't cover him, wide open touchdown. The other one, there were 3 defenders in his area and they all miscommunicated and he just like waltzed past all 3 of them for a long catch. Both of those, were just weird plays and that's not gonna be normal. Kevon, I can't sit Olave, and I know Puka's been great. I get it. And I know Indy can't, they have no corners. I just can't sit Olave because Olave, Jamel Dean is out. Carlton Davis missed 2 games. Now he's back, but he's not 100%. He missed some practice time. And Derek Carr is supposed to be well enough to play, and they're play so much better at home. You make your choice because they both are good options. I just can't sit Olave, who is a superstar who could have that eruption game at any time, and his floor is beautiful. So that's what but again, if you like Puka, I get it. J Red, Algier, 7 carries, 60. Yeah, he had I know. And then 1 reception for -4 at 2.2. Oh man, yeah, that's rugged. That is rugged. Andre, yeah, and Bijan, yeah, always play Bijan. Always play, even if he doesn't have a good game, you got to play him. Yes, I am almost coming. And you know what? This is my last question. It looks good. Amari Cooper or Tank Dell? I am going to stick with Cooper on that Dog. I think that Marlon Humphrey's out. 2 outside linebackers are out for Baltimore, so the pressure package won't be quite the same. Dell should have a good game, but I can't sit Cooper. Even Dorian Thompson should get him the ball enough, so we should go with that. Everybody, thank you. Good luck in week 4. And Charlene, thanks for the nice comments. And see everybody Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern with Game Day Reactions.